back, Knight fans, to Holding Court with Todd Dagenais. This is the third and final installment of our 2010 season wrap-up. Along with the coach, I'm Jeff Sharon, and we're going to talk about our three seniors this year at UCF who left an indelible impression. Kristin Fisher, Sara Rex, and Brittanie Wallace. And they all had their own unique things that they gave to the program in particular. And I want to start with Brittanie Wallace. You want to talk about somebody who had to overcome some odds. She certainly did. You know, she only spent 2 years in this program, missed much of the first one because of the knee injury, came back, and, you know, I think that we saw throughout the season she wasn't quite, it seemed like her knee did betray her at some point, you know, during the season, and she never quite got to the point where initially we would think she was when she first got here for her junior year. But she finished the season strong. She had a great, really had a very good match on senior night against UTEP, and is really just a great example of trying to overcome circumstances beyond your control.
Yeah, no, I think, you know, and I think actually in the front row, I thought she really was pretty explosive this year. And that was pleasant to see. And I remember a couple times in warm-ups going up to her and saying, gosh, I haven't seen you fly like that since club. You know, and then it really improved as we got towards the end of the year, where I thought she was really jumping well. And you know, she did such a great job in practice, a lot of time mimicking the opponent's best hitter. I think where she had the harder time was in the back row, you know, holding a body position or being able to get low to make the dig, or, you know, being able to push off quick. And I think that might be where it affected her a little bit more. But in the front row, I mean, really the area that we needed, the blocking and the offense, I thought she worked so hard to come back and get to where she got. I'm really proud of the effort that she put forth, because a lot of kids would just kind of pack it in. You know, I transferred and I got hurt, and you know, and I know she's sitting there and she's watching Angelica Crump develop, and she knows that Kristin Fisher had been a staple, and she knew that her playing time was going to get cut. But you know, her attitude was just wonderful, and that's not easy to do. It's not easy to have a good attitude when you know the coach has got one senior he's going to play, and he's got a freshman that he needs to groom to take over for the senior, and here you are, you know, you kind of feel like you're the odd person out, and you've gone through this, and you've fought through this injury to get to, boy, and she just never let on. If there was anything going on, she never let on. She made sure it didn't affect the team, and you know, she really was in it for the right reasons, and she's just killing it in the classroom. She's very close to a 4-point student, and fantastic leader. And you know, here's the thing that Brittanie leaves behind. I'm not sure that of the 15 players on the roster that there's a better teammate than Brittanie Wallace. And what I mean by that is, you have a problem, you go to Brittanie. You don't know how to solve something, you go to Brittanie. You don't know how to tell Todd this, you go to Brittanie. And you know, she wasn't a captain by name, but when somebody needed something, Brittanie was the one that they went to. And she just handles things. And she handles crisis. And she really was the big sister. And at the end of the season, when we were in the locker room after that last match, and all the players were going around telling people what they appreciate about the seniors and all that. And the thing that kept coming up over and over was big sister, big sister, big sister, team mom, big sister. And that's what everybody thought of Brittanie. And every program needs to have somebody like that. And we are so, so fortunate that Brittanie came here and helped us out. I know she would have loved to have played more. I know she'd have loved to have been out there and started every night. And it just didn't happen that way. But man, was she an important part of this program.
Yeah, she certainly is going to be missed. As brief as her time was here, she's certainly going to be missed. And I know that another player is going to be missed as well, Sara Rex, a middle blocker. You know, I think that from an amateur viewing perspective, if we were to wave a magic wand and say, give me a middle blocker, Sara Rex would not have been the person who showed up in front of you. But she always brought an emotional hedge to a match that I think that most people don't see and probably don't appreciate. But she really was solid. And I thought last year in particular, when we were dealing with all the injuries, when we were dealing with the adversity, she stepped in and said, it's okay, let's give it the best we've got. And that kind of positive attitude, I think, is what I took away from Sara Rex's career. What do you take away?
Yeah, I think there's some things that are certainly right there.
Something.
You know, in the NBA, you have the six man. You know, it's the first player off the bench. And a lot of times the six man can play a guard, can play a forward, can play a shooting guard, you know. And that was really Sara. We brought Sara in as an athlete. We didn't know if we were going to play her quarterback or running back or kicker. We didn't know what we were going to do. We just knew she was an athlete. And as we started to go through, we started in the middle. That was a position that she was really comfortable in. We knew that wasn't the best position for her. So we tried a little bit of right side, we tried a little bit of left side, and we, for 3 years we constantly were striving to find this spot for Sara. And it just turns out that the six man was her role. She was going to be, if somebody had something happen, she was going to be the one that was going to go in. Left, right, middle, didn't matter. That's what she was going to do. And I think that's a tough role. Because you never know who you are, and you're questioning your identity. And do I belong here? Yes, you do. And I don't know that she ever fully accepted that role, but I don't know that anybody ever does. Because everybody wants to be a starter. And the thing that we appreciated most about Sara was her sense of humor. She kept things light. And I'm an intense person. And it's very disciplined. It's very intense, and it doesn't always feel good. And Sara was always there to kind of lighten that blow a little bit with her sense of humor and a little bit of sarcasm in a positive way. And, I think she made people laugh. And that was something that we really needed to have, certainly last year and at many points during the season this year. The other thing that Sara leads as a captain, obviously she was a leader of our program, but she stepped up to become a leader of all student athletes. As a member of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. Holding very high positions within there, continues to do very well in the classroom. And, one of Sara's best callings may have been as a leader of student athletes and as a galvanizing figure inside the athletic department that way. And not only is our program better for having Sara, but I think the athletic department is better for having that kind of leadership in somebody who's not considered the star athlete. She came to practice every day not knowing exactly what her role was, and every day fought and clawed and helped the team get better and made the most of all the playing time that she did get. And, I was that person. That when I was in college, that's who I was. So I have a lot of respect for that because I know it's not easy. And I know when I played, I know how hard it was to go to practice some days because I didn't know, was I even going to get the practice today or was I going to have to sit on the sidelines? And I'm sure Sara went to a lot of matches going, am I even going to get to play or not? But, I wish I handled it as well as she handled it. And I have a lot of respect for Sara because she did it exactly the way it should be done. And, again, the program is better and the athletic department is better because of how she handled her business.
I always take away also her final match. She was cracking up on the court for some reason as we were winding down against UTEP and the players around you can see were just having a lot of fun, and she was the one who was the catalyst for that. But when we talk about people who are really catalysts, we have to talk about Kristin Fisher, who finished her UCF career with the 10th best all-time in UCF's all-time single-season annals, 10th best season for kills with 495, the most kills for a UCF player in a season since 2002. She also, in the final week of her final season, she wins Offensive Player of the Week and becomes the first UCF player since joining Conference USA to take home that honor. We talked about her a lot in the first part of the wrap-up about how she has just been the straw that stirred the drink this year and has been through so much, in particular in her career. Tell me what you are going to miss the most about Kristin Fisher.
Stability. She's stable. She's stable. I thought one of the things that we worked on a lot with her last year, and it took me a while to learn how to manage Fish. She's a I don't want to say stubborn in a bad way, but she's very particular. I think she's very confident. Yet, I thought that confidence allowed me to put more pressure on her than I should have last year, and I thought at times it affected her. And once I realized how my words and my actions affect her, it really helped me manage her a lot better this year. There's a lot of things I just let go with her this year because I knew that she knew what needed to change. Whereas last year I wasn't so confident that she knew. This year I knew for sure. There's a lot of times where she'd go through a little stretch where she'd have 3 or 4 hitting errors. I never said a word because she knew how to fix it. Mm-hmm. And even sometimes when I'd walk up to her and I start to say something, I know I need to keep my body low. Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say. But she was stable. She never was too high. She never was too low. She never broke when she struggled. She never let her head explode when she was really good. And it's such a great role model for all the young players to say, this is how you handle a season that starts August 10th and finishes November 28th. Mm-hmm. This is how you act. And wow, what a great example for everybody. And we've gone on record many times about the praise that I have and the respect that I have for somebody like Kristin Fisher. Because she defies the odds. She defies the odds in the sport of volleyball. She's too short. She doesn't jump 10 feet. She doesn't block with her armpits at the net. She never passed until we asked her to come here and pass at a high level. And yet she found a way to be one of the best players in the conference. And that does not happen. It doesn't happen. You can go for years and years and years and never have a player that does that. Not to mention having to overcome an ACL operation at the beginning of all that. So, what does she leave behind? She leaves behind that stability. This is the roadmap on how you act as an athlete from beginning to end. And there's a lot of NBA players that could look at Kristin Fisher and say, wow, this is how we handle a long season. Or hockey players, this is how we handle a long season. Yeah. She did it right. And boy, I hope that people took notes. This program is going to miss Kristin Fisher. And we're never going to be able to replace the leadership and the off the court and the stability. We're going to find ways to try to replace the points, and that's not going to be easy because there's a lot of points that we need to replace. Yeah. But she's going to be tough to replace, and I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. I just think other people are just going to have to step up and contribute, that off the court stuff in their own way. So our team's going to change pretty dramatically with the loss of Kristin Fisher.
Well, as we wrap up, we look back at just that group of 3, Fish, Rex, and Britt. Let's sum up for me, when you put the picture up on the wall of that senior class, and 20 years from now, people walk by and they see that photo of those 3, and they ask you about those 3. What are you going to say about that senior class?
That was the group that got us through. Really, the first year was about changing the culture. Trying to get the culture right and going in the right direction, everybody on the same page. We spent the entire first year just doing that. Yeah. Really the second year was about implementing our systems, trying to get the playbook in. The third year was the year we were competitive. Did we win all the matches that we wanted to win? No. We got to 500 though. We set some records. We had some nice honors. That group was the group that led us to that. And that group was the one that set the table for any future success that's going to come to this program. Because they had the internal fortitude to not give up. Even when Fish was here before I got here, she could have given up when I got here. She didn't. Brittanie could have given up after her ACL injury. Sara could have given up after she had a difficult time trying to find a good role for her. And they never did, man. They just brought it. They brought it every day. And everybody else is going to look at them and say, if we can be more like those 3, this program has a chance to go places in the future.
I got a feeling we're going to be going places as well as this as we head into the spring and then into 2010. Well, it's time for us to wrap up the 2010 season. Coach, it's been a pleasure. Congratulations on an excellent season.
Thank you.
And what do you say we catch up again in the spring?
That sounds good. Let's do it sometime in March.
All right, sounds good. Have a great off season. And folks, thank you for tuning into Holding Court with Todd Dagenais all season long. Make sure you follow UCF Volleyball all off season as we head into 2011 on UCFathletics.com, as well as on Facebook and on Twitter. UCF_volleyball is the Twitter handle. For the coach, Todd Dagenais, I'm Jeff Sharon. Thank you so much for joining us all season. This has been Holding Court with Todd Dagenais.